So welcome back, everybody. This is Paul again, another of my series about consciousness. And I talk about this subject a lot because essentially all we have really in this life is our awareness, our perception. And obviously many people have talked about it. What is our consciousness and what's it all about and so on. So it's a very big subject. It's a very worthwhile subject to investigate. And in the previous segment I was talking about how simple meditation really is. And what we have to understand that consciousness, our own consciousness, not everybody, just we only have ours to deal with, is not what we think. It's hard to grasp, like we go about our day, we think about everything, we have an identity based on whatever we think, but consciousness extends far beyond where you think. So, I want to use an analogy. Let's say, for example, you're brought up in the woods and you lived your whole life and you reach your 20s and one day you just happen to find an abandoned house or something and you walk in there and you see a full-length mirror. Oh my God, boom. In one simple instant, a certain revelation, a certain visualization creates an understanding in that person. Wow, that's me, that is something. Something changes, and I want to talk a little bit about superconsciousness in this particular episode because that's a word that's often used and is bandied about and so on. And the way I look at it is superconsciousness is just becoming more conscious. Just more conscious. Super conscious. Above conscious. A bit more, to have more understanding and sensation about our existence. And we all know by so many historical examples and modern examples, there's all kinds of geniuses and amazing intelligences and awarenesses out there, including savants who can do all kinds of stuff. So built into our mechanism here is the ability to be super conscious. Now, again, it comes down to that membrane. There's a simple, thin membrane that we carry about. It's almost like, let's say you had this fine piece of cellophane, and everywhere you go in the world, all you're doing is you're looking through this kind of dim, blurry thing. And everything you touch, you first touch that little piece of cellophane. So you get this whole impression that everything out there in the world is really out there. But consciousness, real consciousness, is not something that is complicated. And many people have examples in dreams and in hospital experiences and near-death experiences and accidents. They suddenly just get it, that we're not this body. We are not this body. Now, like an example of the mirror, once we have this clear sensation that we're really not this body, a whole realm of awareness starts to open up to us, because in reality, like I said, the cellophane that we put, that's like our ego, and the way we conceptualize the world is blurry. So a lot of what we experience in life is our own self-created illusions. Now, this example came to me. Let's say you had a dream, and in this dream you're just like hanging on this cliff by one finger. You're just about to die, and it's like, my God, it's like so far down. And you're just freaking out of this dream. And then in the dream, all of a sudden, you just feel this rope around. You got the rope, you're sitting in it. Okay, I don't have to feel unsafe anymore because I have this thing around me. So that's one level of confidence that we get from understanding, look, we're not really this body. But then it goes even beyond that. Let's say in this dream, then you wake up and you realize the whole thing was a dream anyway. It was just complete illusion. Mystics have said, and sages have said, that our awareness actually is just like this invisible soil. And it expresses itself through a body. If it wants to see, it has to have this particular type of eye and this particular type of ear. But there's many different kinds of ears and eyes, as we know. But consciousness is related. This is a mystery, perhaps, but it is not a mystery in personal experience because so many people already know this. Now, we go about our living our days, and we can live very confused because of this mystery, not understanding a very, very simple thing. Now, as far as what superconsciousness is, let's say, for example, you have like a little wood stove, and on there you have like a pot of water, and after a while, with a little bit of heat, that pot of water starts to evaporate. And it goes out through the whole little room. And then after a while, you open the door, it goes all the way out through the windows and the doors. Consciousness is basically unending. So there's really no place where you can get and say, now I know everything. You can know the essence of everything, which is something that is conscious. That's that within. You can know that by an experience, but you don't need to intellectually know where all the atoms are. That's not what superconsciousness is about. Now, I've been around some very extraordinary people in my life at different times, and I could swear, I mean, it's just like their consciousness flooded me. I mean, I just felt like they knew everything I was thinking. But all that is just a mirror. Every single human being has the mechanism for just dropping that veil. It's so simple. It's just really more than simple that it's hard to even talk about it. You see, now, there is a saying in one of the books I read one time. It says, when people experience truth, or that essence, our awareness, our non-local awareness, the foolish become wise and the wise become silent. There's nothing to say about the simplicity of awareness. You see, it's almost like there's a lot of talking to help them build a mental framework, conceptualize, so that we can sit and just experience. Now, again, like the mist that expands, our awareness, let's say you have a drop of colored water and you put it into a big, huge bowl of clear water, and just little by little that color will just spread out, spread out, spread out, spread out until there's nothing. The tint is so fine. Just like as we progress in our own awareness, the veil goes thinner and thinner and thinner, and more perception naturally happens, but it's a universal perception. It's like, just sort of understanding, equilibrium. Now, so in a state of equilibrium, we can perceive a lot better. It's a very simple fact. And that's why all the yogis and so on, we just try to still ourselves and get our body in shape and so on, and not have things that disturb us. But our body has a lot of subtle sensing mechanisms built into it that many different cultures and yogis and meditators have talked about for a very long time, and there's very detailed books about all that stuff. And one of the things that's very common, people talk about the third eye and so on. And there's very different techniques and so on. But ultimately, as I referenced earlier, there's a space within us, the knowingness space. It's like you can't really say much about it. Because within that space there's everything. Do you want to know something? Well, then just turn your full attention, not just this third eye, but our whole vehicle, our entire body, and everything, all the energy fields that we have that are associated with this body, are all one part of the sensing mechanism that we have. Now, some people have some very strange experiences. There are people who hear a sound and they smell something, or they see a color and they hear something. Now, there might be very good uses for a person like that, but generally speaking, we don't want to be walking through our life having a lot of hallucinations. They're just as real. This is again like what is conscious? The things that we perceive internally, in a manner, are just as real as anything external, because all the external stuff is just light, sound, magnetic fields assembled in a way that, perceived to our eyes, is material. But on the energy level, it's just fluid. It's just like a nebula. I mean, everything, even every atom, is not even solid. So this entire existence, that we're in, is just assembly of different kinds of energy forms. Now, we have a YouTube limit, again, because that's what they do, but it's hard to teach this kind of subject. I try to have a different approach than some of the mundane, very common examples of the aura and this and that. But I've talked about a lot of these kinds of things in other of the videos that I've made. But essentially the goal is to just let ourselves come to rest and realize that we're perceiving more than our thoughts, we're more than our ideas about ourselves, our existence, our own consciousness is vastly more than what we're taught. And if we just have that open door to start feeling that, a lot of these types of revelations start coming to us on their own. Nobody has to tell us. That's the thing about real internal knowledge, that nobody needs to actually tell us how things should be. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.